My dear viewers, haters, and fellow car enthusiasts, today is a new video. In the last video, we finished the Rallycross suspension upgrade on the all-wheel drive Rally MIATA. But then we took it for a drive and noticed some binding issues or something bad. There was a big metal clank. There was metal on metal contact somewhere in the rear suspension. At the beginning of this video, I went ahead, got it on the lift. I took the strut out, cycled it through the suspension levels, and there's nothing, no binding. Originally, I thought it was the axles that were causing the issue, because at ride height, the axles have like a 1/16 of an inch of play, which is not ideal. They should be shorter. But you know, it didn't bind. I cycled the suspension and it seemed fine. So I went ahead and put the strut back in, and that's when I noticed there was some gashing, some gouging on the shock body. And it turns out, I guess, that the spring was contacting the strut body. So here's the issue, okay? You got a strut with a top hat. The strut is perpendicular to the top hat, right? Well, I went ahead and moved the bottom strut location, so it brought it out like this. But the top hat is still in the body in the same way. So now the shock is going up at an angle, but the spring is obviously locked in the top hat, so it's kind of having to curve. So on the inner curve, it hits the shock body and causes the loud noises. So I went ahead and made a little shim on the one side of the top hat that leveled it back out. So now it's more perpendicular, and hopefully that fixed it. I cycled the suspension. It doesn't seem like the spring is contacting the shock body, so I think we're good. Somehow, you guys noticed this in the very first video when I was making the control arms. One of the top comments was, "You're gonna have binding issues." What? How did you know? Either way, you were right. Hopefully it is fixed. So, since it's put back together, let's take it for a drive and see if it really is fixed. And if it isn't fixed, we'll make a bigger shim, because this shim is only 1/8 of an inch, so it's still not level, but the last setup wasn't level either, and it worked, so hopefully this is enough. Here's a good test. Pretty sure I heard it there. If I can't fix this with shims, it's gonna suck. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I have to fix it either way. I'll just have to completely remake the control arms. a good week's worth of work. Oh yeah. It be hidden. Huh. I almost wonder if it is, like, it's not at all better. What if it is the axles? Would the axles behave differently while it's driving than it is while it's just in the air? I don't know. I don't know why I'm asking you, because you don't see this for another week. So I have to figure it out myself. I will figure it out myself, though. If I can build a tube chassis, I can figure out shocks, right? I also really need to put the pins on the trunk. It doesn't fly open, but it squeaks. That's so annoying. I just want to drive this thing. I just want to drive it, but no. Listen. It didn't really do it that bad. I want you guys to hear this. I think you could hear it in the last video, but just to make sure. Not a pleasant sound. It's oh gosh, that's not supposed to happen. Metal on metal contact sound. Back on the lift we go. Before I take the coilover out and make a new shim, I'm gonna test to make sure it's not actually just bottoming out. I'm noticing that when it's on the ground, the shock, you don't see the actual internal shaft of the shock. That's how compressed it is. So I'm starting to worry that the shock is just bottoming out. And that would be because we moved everything out a couple inches, so it's got more leverage on the shock, blah, 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 blah. Let's test it though. I just have to remove the shock and take the spring out. So I discovered the issue, and I was kind of right. The top hat being not at the right angle is causing the issue. But the noise is not the spring hitting the shock body, it's the shock body not fitting inside of the top hat and hitting the top hat. See, the top hat has essentially a sleeve that the shock body goes into, like a good 2 or 3 inches. A lot of the travel is in that area, and when it's at the wrong angle, the shock body hits the edge of that sleeve instead of going inside of it. So I have a couple options here. I can either make a shim to fix it, or I could get new suspension. So I'm thinking about, these things don't have a lot of travel. I mean, if I'm hitting that sleeve while at ride height, going over simple bumps, there's maybe an inch or 2 to 3 inches left of travel, which isn't a whole bunch. It's not bad, but the preload is also seized on this, and I can't lower it anymore. I'm gonna hop on Summit, look around, and make a decision. So here's what I decided. After looking at coilovers and such, if I get a similar coilover that's the same length as the one I have, it's gonna have the same issues. It's only gonna have 5 to 6 inches of travel. But if I got a longer coilover that went to the roll cage instead of to the stock mounting point for the strut, then I can get something much longer and something that has much more travel. But all those things are super expensive. This one, $330 without the springs. So that would be a $1,000 upgrade. So for now, we're gonna make these work because they're as good as the other stock style stuff. We can do simple rally crossing with that. But when we wanna start going over jumps and having a lot of fun, then we'll need something a little bit beefier. And then we can do that. For now, let's get these shims made to make these struts work. Throwback to when I only used quick grips instead of a vise. You guys changed my life with this thing, making me bolt it in. Let's go ahead and try that. So what we're looking for is for this shock body to go into the top hat and not hit the rim right here. No bueno. And after playing around with the location of the shims a wee little bit, the shock now travels all the way up into the top hat and hits the bump stops and bottoms out right there. So we're good. Now I just have to finalize that, do it to the other side, spring back on, etc., etc., etc. Fortunately, since I've had to take the strut in and out so many times, the beautiful paint on those control arms is all screwed up because it's spray paint, and if you sneeze on spray paint, I swear to God, it chips. So annoying, no matter what you do. Use the right primer, use the clear coat, it's just still so weak. You guys mentioned that I need to get a paint setup, and I really do. Even just for, like, it doesn't have to be for painting cars. It can just be a little small setup. Painting small stuff like that would be so nice. Or even like a powder coating setup for something small like that would be really nice. Maybe once we get the Datsun and Porsche's car out of here, we'll have a little bit more space for more tools. Also, I did want to acknowledge, a couple of you guys were noting that the heim joints look a little small and that there's no triangulation, no gussets, the control arms. Let me just say that heim joints are a little small, and I probably should have gone with a bigger heim joint and then a misalignment spacer, but those still have a static load rating of something into the 20,000 pound range. And there's 4 of them just for half of the rear suspension, because they're still upper control arms, which takes a small bit of the load. So pretty sure it'll be totally fine. Worst case scenario, we bend one, then we upgrade. And then the tubing itself for the control arms is 1 inch, 3/16 wall DOM. So it's really thick, really strong stuff. And I welded it with that TIG welder on full blast. So let me tell you, those things are plenty strong for a MIATA. Could they be stronger? Sure. Could have gusseted it, but then it would have made it heavier, and it would have, you know, the extra little bit of strength would not have been necessary, and it would have hurt the performance because of all the extra weight. I guess one nice thing about the fact that I only spray painted it is that if we want to switch things up, like if we do end up getting those Fox coilovers, or if we want to add more strength, we can grind the paint down, weld it all up, repaint it, and I'm not ruining, you know, like a $200 powder coat job. I was putting those trunk pins on, but I don't have a drill bit small enough for the little screws. So let's take the Rally MIATA to Ace Hardware, test it, and then get a drill bit and finish that. Please work. It's funny, since I don't have the headlight covers on, I can see into the hood, like underneath the hood. I can see the oil cap from here. The first bump is the biggest bump, so we'll know right away if we fixed it, I think. Except there's a car coming. It didn't do it, boys! I think we fixed it. Oh, this thing's so fun to drive. Race car, woohoo! Yes! I want to take this thing to an event so badly. Illinois, why do you gotta, no, COVID. I gotta blame COVID. We fixed it, boys and girls. All right, let's go to Ace Hardware. This thing is so much more comfortable to street drive without those headlights, I'm telling you. I know I said in the last video, but made a huge difference. This thing drives so nicely, it's insane. For having the entire front end cut off, it's just like perfect. Also, it's awesome because of, for some reason, I'm assuming it's the hood scoop. Air likes to shoot right out of the shifter hole here, so it's like homemade AC. I forgot how many looks this thing gets, and it's awesome. This makes me so happy. It is the most obnoxious thing that can possibly on the road. It's got a burble tune, it's got squeaky brakes, it's blue, and it's lifted, and it's a Miata. And it's just loud in general. It's the best attention-seeking car known to man. I can almost guarantee this thing would get as much attention as like a supercar, because it's got that same wow factor. And I'm not trying to be like bragging or anything, but seriously, even when it was a rusty piece of poop, everyone loved it. I don't have my mask. Damn it, I can't even go in there anyway. I gotta go all the way back, damn it. Ah. All right, let's just cut to when I have the drill bit. So that's awesome. The trunk pins are in, they look good, and the suspension is fixed. The struts no longer hit themselves, and it can travel its full travel, and it's all good. It isn't the most legit solution for sure, but it should work, and I don't think it will cause any other issues. If it turns out that adding those shims on the top hats causes any other issues, then we will go ahead and switch to those new coilovers that we were looking at online. But for now, if we can make this work, and if this works well, we might as well use this suspension as long as we can, get used to it, and then go to the better stuff later. Anyway, since that is done, I'm gonna go ahead and mount the headlight lids finally, so we're not driving around with missing headlight lids. right, so both of the headlight lids are on. They're not aligned perfectly, but we can get it there. For now, I'm gonna tear everything apart and then paint the stuff I just welded on. You might have noticed that I'm wearing this cool new Gingium shirt, and this will be available soon on a new website. Finally, we're doing more merch stuff. This is a really awesome shirt, super comfy. It's got the rail MIATA on the back, then a new logo up front. Definitely pretty excited about the shirt. It should be available in a week or two. We have to finalize the website, take some pictures of the other merch and stuff, but stay tuned. Well, ladies and gents, that's going to be it for this video. I know you expected an awesome engine upgrade and some awesome other stuff, but this video, we had to get that suspension fixed, and we did, and it's working great. Now it's official. Next weekend, okay, I guess it's not official, but next weekend, we should be taking the rail MIATA to some local dunes to finally get it out and have some fun with it, start going to events. This whole COVID thing has obviously screwed everything up, but I think we're finally gonna start doing events. And the first one's gonna be dunes in this thing. So I'm really excited for that. The next couple of videos before that, we're gonna do some finalizing upgrade to this thing. We need to make a chassis brace, we need to fix the power steering, and then we are going to install that engine upgrade. I guess I should at least show you what it is because I told you we were gonna do it in this video. This is it. This is an air oil separator from AWD Performance. It's a pretty basic thing. It's like a catch can that drains back into the engine, but especially on a Subaru, it's incredibly vital to keeping the engine healthy and not blowing up. During a full pull, we're having blow-by shoot out the blow-off valve because there's so much blow-by. There's so much oil in the intake system, and this is going to fix that. It will separate the oil from the air, put the air back into the PCV system, put the oil back into the oil pan, and it'll all be good. So in the next video, we're gonna install that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please give it a like. If you didn't, please give it a dislike. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. From here on out, at least for the next while, I'm gonna be trying to make shorter videos a little bit more frequently, because making a 27-minute long video that doesn't do so well, it's not cutting it, Chief. But that's all good. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Goodbye. My dear viewers, haters, and fellow car enthusiasts, today, I just spat. Ugh, that's gross. Let's try that again. Don't put that in, Pasha. You're gonna, seriously don't, all right? I'm mimicking a Lord of the Rings intro, all right? Just let it happen.